This will be another quick one, just kind of off the top of my head. Despite what the title will probably be, which I'm thinking it's going to be, what does System 76 actually do? This is not going to answer the question. This is actually me just asking a question because I really don't know. So, I'm going to list off things that I do know, and feel free to tell me the things I missed because people do say that System 76 does things, but I'm not aware of what those are. So I do know they do want a few things. The first one, obviously, is Pop! OS, which is, as far as I can tell, just a fork of Ubuntu, which is downstream from Ubuntu. And they have a desktop they're making. Oh, and they have a fucking script to install the NVIDIA drivers because you need that. And their ISO has NVIDIA drivers. That's the whole selling point. It's great. So, but if I remember, they did some NVIDIA optimizations under the hood that got pushed upstream. If I remember, I don't really remember, honestly. But they have a new desktop because, of course, we need another desktop, which is fine because I understand that GNOME is really fucking hard to work with. So that's cool and all. But I'm not really interested in a new desktop, honestly. I don't really give a shit. This is I wanted to say this before we get started though, is obviously I fully support any company that has open standards and isn't trying to post proprietary garbage on me. No problems with them as a company whatsoever. I'm just trying to think of what they do that impresses people so much. So I saw a review for one of their keyboards, uh the launch keyboard, I think is what it was called. And I remember asking somebody, I said, hey, should I get this keyboard? Because it has like the rebindable keys thing using their own special open software. And they said, no, just use QMK VIA. I was like, oh, so I got a keyboard with QMK VIA and then I just never used it. I mean, obviously, it's my main keyboard. I just don't rebind anything because I'm lazy. So they created yet another standard for rebinding keys, which is very cool. And then I looked into their laptops because I was looking for a core booted laptop, that I could use with Guix or something, or Geeks, that I could use with Geeks. I kind of want to call it Guix just so that it doesn't get confused with the word geeks. I'll think about that. Anyways, they make a core booted laptop, but what that core booted laptop is they just rebadged Clevo laptops, which is fine too. So that got me thinking though. I was like, oh, I could buy a rebadged laptop, or I could get one that's not rebadged for about the same price. And that just blew my mind right there. I was like, whoa, I don't have to buy rebadges. Because you can get a discount if you just order directly from the manufacturer, but then you have to core boot it yourself, and that's a process. So I was like, ooh, maybe I will look for a different brand. So I'm not sold on their keyboard. I'm not sold on their computers because the computers are just rebadged. So what do I care? You know, I can fucking build my own computer. I can buy a laptop if I'm just gonna buy somebody else's laptop. Although I was also considering a Vikings ThinkPad, which is just a rebadged ThinkPad with a bunch of upgrades on it, and they still want like $800 for it with no battery or drive. So that's cool. But it got me thinking though, I was like, what the fuck are people so impressed with System 76 for? What do they do? And to this day, I really don't know what they do, honestly. That's the only things I could think of that they did. They sell rebranded computers and they have a keyboard that kind of does the same thing as other keyboards. And they have an OS and a desktop environment that's supposed to be like more competitive with GNOME by not being tied down because again, I understand that GNOME is very hard to work with and a lot of the changes that they wanted to make weren't being accepted, so they kind of had to forge their own direction. But I was like, man, people fucking piss their pants over System 76, and I'm just not seeing what they're seeing or something. But that being said, I mean, obviously, great job being a fucking company that supports open standards. That's always cool. You know, having core booted laptops, that's a cool thing. Having your own products is a cool thing. Making your own desktops a cool thing. It's not like they're making a proprietary anything, you know. So I just don't personally see what other people see in them. And I'm sure somebody will tell me. Probably nobody will mention it in the comments because nobody fucking watches my videos. I did notice though that my video on how complicated is your system ended up getting 270 views, and I was like, why the fuck is it that the videos where I think I may be wrong are the ones that get the most views? Because as I'm making them, I'm always thinking to myself, how retarded am I being right now? And that video, I felt especially stupid because I was like, there's no way that I'm just fucking assuming everybody's setups and that they're all as simple as mine, because I purposely make my setup as simple as possible because I'm so fucking tired of dealing with my computer. But obviously, most people don't do that, especially in the Linux space. So what the hell am I talking about? But that was a fun video. Anyways, that's what I wanted to say about this video. Is this is not going to answer the question that System 76 does anything, but more ask the question begging for an answer, and I really don't know. All right, thanks.